What's good, everybody? This is CreamSpinachYo, and this is episode 10 of Math Science and Modern Warfare 3, and yes, we've made it into the double digits. Very, very exciting. And today, I'm gonna try to kind of go a little out on the edge, talk about something a little more complicated today. We're gonna be talking about clock synchronization and simultaneity. Basically, if this is an idea in physics, and if you are unfamiliar with it, the basic premise of it is that if you have two clocks that are synchronized in one reference frame, right? So something you're looking at, and then usually they're typically not synchronized in any other frame, moving relative to the first frame. That is, it's gonna head into my next topic, and so the idea is, I think it's best explained with an example. I think that's just the best way to do it. And again, just a caveat to this: I apologize for my poorly drawn pictures. I'm not a Microsoft Paint hero. I'm sorry. So hopefully we can get through this now. So this is the first picture I'm going to show you right here. Now, yes, it is a box, and guess what? That box is a spaceship. And basically, we have a yellow sun in the spaceship, and that's not actually a sun, it's just representing a light source. And we have a long gray box, the rectangle you see at the top, and that's a mirror. And so you see that the light from that sun, or you know where the light starts, it's going to bounce off the mirror and bounce back, right? And there's a distance between that. Now that's when if we have two clocks in there, they're going to be synchronized, right? Because it's in one reference frame. But now let's look at a clock that you'll see during this example why it won't work. Now let's suppose we should start, maybe the spaceship starts moving, right? Let's send the spaceship in a direction, right? So now, no, I did not triple the spaceships in the picture that I'm showing you right now. But what I'm doing is I'm showing you that light moves up and down, and it will also move in reference to the spaceship. So if we send the spaceship in a direction, right, the light will still move up and down, but because the spaceship is moving, in this case from left to right, the light will bounce off the mirror and then bounce back, but it'll also be traveling, it would be traveling with the spaceship as well. So it has, it doesn't just go straight up, and doesn't go straight to the mirror and back. And so you'll see kind of how this example is. You can already see right off the bat that the light is taking in the example where the spaceship is not moving, the light is moving a shorter distance compared to the example when the spaceship is moving. So now I tried to cook up an example just to show it, to show you as much. So let's say the distance from the light source to the mirror is 15 light minutes, and if you're unfamiliar with that, I'm not going to explain it in this episode, but feel free to Google it or something. It's very, very simple to understand. And then let's say that the spaceship travels 80% of the speed of light, right? So the velocity of that would equal 0.8 times c, where c is the speed of light. Now, this spaceship, let's say it has two synchronized clocks, right? One, the second picture showed you, one in the beginning, the first picture, and then one at the end. We want to see the difference between that, right? And so let's try to find the time intervals between these events, right? So we have, we need it in a reference frame of a spaceship, in the reference frame of the platform, and then the distance traveled by the spaceship, and then the amount of time by which the clocks on the platform are out of synchronization according to the observers on the spaceship, right? So basically, the idea for this problem, to solve this, is that the events will occur at the same time on the spaceship, right? So the time between the events is the proper time between the events. So that is, it depends on the observers, depending on what happens. Now, so let's look at the first part, right? Let's look at the frame of the spaceship, right? So in the frame of the spaceship, we have the light travels from the sun, right, the light source, to the mirror and back, right? And since the distance from the gun to the mirror is 15 light minutes, right? You double that, the distance would be 30, right? It's going back and forth, so it's 30 light minutes. And then we need to calculate the time, right? And so distance equals rate times time. We have a rate and the velocity, so we're going to plug that in, right? And so we get this equation, right? Delta t prime equals d over c. And then we get 30 minutes for that reference frame. Now, because the two events happened at the same place in the spaceship, right? The time interval is the proper time, right? And the time interval from now on is going to be delta t sub p, and since it's the proper time, it equals 30 minutes. So there you go, right? Now we're gonna do in reference to the platform, right? The moving ship. So the time between the events is longer, right? And of course, this is just, we're gonna call this factor gamma, right? So we have, remember, because we have some type of scalar that's making it longer or shorter. In this case, longer. So we have this equation, delta t equals gamma delta tp, and then we plug in everything, and we need to solve for gamma, so we get that ugly thing. And look at that, we get a scalar of 5/3 at the end. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna plug that into 30 minutes, right? So we have the difference between the events observed, and look at that, the difference between the events observed is 50 minutes, right? So it's 20 minutes different. Now, let's let's find the distance traveled by the spaceship, right? And so this is just a simple, you know, the velocity times the amount of time, right? I hope you, if you're not familiar with this, you'll learn it in Newtonian kinematics. So I hope you, if you don't understand it, please look it up, because it's too simple to explain. So we have, right, we're going to calculate the distance, right? And so we're going to get the first distance minus the second distance, right? x2 minus x1, or if you are familiar with that, the final position minus the initial position, right? So we calculate that, we multiply that by the speed, and then the time difference, and look at that, we get 40 light minutes for that. And so that's the distance traveled by the spaceship, 40 light minutes. Right? We just calculated the distance that. Now, we want to figure out why. We want to figure out the amount of time by which the clocks are out of synchronization with the spaceship. So we're going to use a synchronization formula that we have. So we have delta t sub s equals the proper distance between the clock, L sub p, and then we have the v over c squared. Right, and so we're gonna take our result from part C, and we're gonna plug it in to. We've calculated the distance, right? We have 40 light minutes, which is this equation here, right? x2 minus x1, and we plug that into our last equation, which is delta ts equals the proper distance between the clocks, which is L sub p, v over c squared, and we plug everything in, and look at that, 32 minutes. So you can see that just by moving. And of course, we're moving 80% of the speed of light, so these numbers, they're quite large. I don't think you're not going to reach any, like, even people on the spaceship, right? Their clocks tick. They tick slower, but it's at a rate that's so small. And you can feel free to Google that as well. Now let's just sum everything up, right? So we have the observers on the platform would say that the spaceship's clock is running slow because it only records a time of 30 minutes between the events, whereas the time measured by the observers on the platform is 50 minutes, right? So there's a 20-minute difference there. So that's pretty cool, right? I think that's very, very cool. I hope that wasn't too complicated. I know it's really hard for me to kind of work out the problem in my head and explain it at the same time. Again, I'm really, really sorry about that. Hopefully you can understand that. And just to reiterate, no, I do not type everything out or read it straight from a book. No, these are notes I have from class that I am remembering, and there you go. So I hope you can bear with me on that. Episode 11, we'll definitely do some wave-particle duality stuff, because that is really badass. And again, that's all I got for this episode. Now, again, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. Of course, if you have for any type of episode or subject in math and physics or science in general that you want me to research, look into, and then hopefully I'll be able to pick out something cool and talk about it, and like an example. And feel free to do that. That'd be great. Feel free to like the channel, subscribe to the channel, and like the video. And as always, I have a Twitter. Feel free to follow me at CreamSpinachYo. And of course, have a great day.